It's no secret that the more programs you install on your computer, the slower it will eventually become. However, with all of the advances in computers and operating systems like Windows 7, is this actually still true? I'm here with Meredith of TuneUp to discuss some tests its blog team conducted to evaluate this theory. So, Meredith, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Happy to be here.
So, what's the real issue with installing tons of programs on your PC?
Well, installing too many programs often results in problems with performance and stability. This is what often leads people asking why their PCs are suddenly slow or why Windows is crashing all the time. Windows by itself doesn't tell people to get rid of programs they aren't using, which actually may be causing their performance issues.
So, is it just that the computer doesn't have enough room for all of the programs?
Essentially, that's right, since it's mainly about how many resources the PC has available. The more programs you download, the more services, background processes, files, startup items, and registry entries will be created. Some software products even install new drivers, like virtual DVD drives. Stuff like this puts more and more of a strain on your machine because it needs to assign resources to each new program.
So, what kind of stuff did you test in your benchmarks?
Well, we wanted to find out if the drop in performance from having too many programs installed was actually noticeable.
And how did you measure that?
Well, first we tested the PC with very few programs installed and called it the clean PC. Then, after completing all of the clean PC tests, we loaded it up with 200 software programs and called it the junk PC, and then ran the tests again to have a direct comparison. Installing all the applications took well over 2 days and 50 restarts by itself.
Yeah, and a lot of those programs come with add-ons, like toolbars and whatnot. Did you include all of those as well in your count?
Yep, lots of free and even commercial programs come with additional software. So the 200 programs we installed might actually have caused the number to be closer to 250.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was quite the ordeal just to get the computer ready for testing. But what we found was that when starting each computer, the clean PC needed less than a minute and a half to start up, whereas the junk PC needed more than 7 whole minutes to fully load. And on some attempts it actually just froze altogether. And when shutting down, the clean PC only needed 11 seconds, whereas the junk PC wouldn't even shut down because all of the programs caused Windows 7 to freeze.
Wow, that's not good at all. Did you test anything besides the startup and shutdown processes, or was that it?
Yeah, absolutely. We found that the junk PC took twice as long to perform various tasks, such as running a virus scan, opening Outlook, opening a web browser, and opening a video file, compared to the clean PC. When we tried to actually play the video file, it was extremely choppy and distorted. And then after the 200 programs were installed, we had to wait a few seconds until any of the windows opened. It took nearly half a minute for the computer and the control panel windows to appear. Some programs wouldn't even launch or cause the computer to freeze altogether.
That's amazing, and certainly not optimal. Were there any other significant results from your tests?
Yes, we did a PC Mark Vantage test, which is essentially an overall performance benchmark of a computer, and the higher the score, the faster your machine performs. So with a default test, we found the clean PC had a total score of 2,624, while the junk PC's performance was reduced to just 1,092. This was a huge drop.
Wow, yeah, I'll say. So after having done all these tests, what do you think would happen if you were to remove all of those programs from the junk PC? Would everything go back to normal?
Actually, we tested that out. After removing all 200 programs one by one, we found that the startup time was almost completely restored to normal at just 14 seconds slower than the clean PC. The shutdown time proved to be the same, back to normal at just 11 seconds.
Ah, so there is a cure then.
Well, not everything went as smoothly as those tests. The newly clean PC's ability to run a virus scan did return to normal, but its ability to open Outlook, a web browser, or the video file still took longer than before we installed the 200 programs. Playing the video still showed some hiccups and wasn't completely smooth either.
Okay, so what about that PC Mark Vantage test? The 200 programs had a significant impact on that test initially.
Yes, as you'll remember, it had originally dropped from 2,624 to 1,092, and after we removed all of the programs, it only went back up to 1,905. So this was a bit disappointing and showed that those 200 programs really did have an impact on the PC's performance, even when they were removed. So overall, Windows 7 performed faster without the 200 programs installed, but we felt that the performance suffered quite a bit compared to the original state.
Yeah, well, that's too bad, but I guess it's understandable.
It's also important to note that fragmentation had a big impact on performance. Before we installed the 200 programs, we regularly used TuneUp Utility's 2010's defragmentation feature to keep hard disk access times as fast as possible. So the fragmentation level was usually between 0 and 5% at most. After we installed and removed the 200 programs, however, TuneUp Drive defrag told us that more than 54% of the hard disk was fragmented.
That's a big number. No wonder the performance didn't get back to normal levels. So, what would you recommend to listeners to help them avoid this kind of thing in the future?
Well, just a few basic tips can definitely help. Before you install any piece of software, think about if you actually need it or plan to use it on a regular basis. If you need it once, remember to uninstall it. Also, go through the list of all your installed programs and decide which ones you need and which ones you can get rid of. You can find all these programs under your control panel in Add or Remove Programs. Finally, be sure that only the most necessary startup applications are loaded automatically when you turn your PC on.
Great advice. If people wanted more information on this, where should they go to find it?
All this and a lot more can be found on the TuneUp blog at blog.tune-up.com.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Meredith. This is great information. Hopefully it will help some people prevent their computers from becoming sluggish and limit those frustrating system crashes.
It was my pleasure, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.